transitioning out of the military and how we've all mildly succeeded in becoming.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be the topic
Some
of
of us have
conversation.
procreated.
Yeah, sure.
So most of them.
I got that guy.
Yeah, I think that's the topic of the conversation. So I'll talk a little bit about what it was like for your transition from military to civilian life. So, Rich?
Yeah,
What you
so for the people that don't know, I was with Tim. I was one of the team leaders in his squad. There's three teams per squad. He was in charge of 12 people, 13 including himself. So I was in charge of 3 below me, and we deployed. We did all 3 deployments together. Yep. Afghanistan. We got home September 26th of 2011. I got out of the Marine Corps December 20th, I want to say. So like, math for Marines, like 2 months. I was basically got out and started my separation process. And I was in a college classroom in January of the following year. So
That was quick.
it was brutal, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was still like struggling to drive down the road and be tailgated and not flip out about it. It was, you're just kind of in a different place, and it's very hard to come back from that and just be a person. You don't feel like everyone else feels. You feel like nobody understands why you think the way that you do,
Rewind it back a little bit. I was trying to think to those dates a little bit. You were in a college. You were in a class in college less than 6 months after we come home from Afghanistan.
Yeah. So let's do the math. September, October, November, December, January. Less than 4 months.
Yeah, that's tight, man.
It was wild.
That's tight.
It was a lot of encouragement from family to just jump back in, and like, they meant well. I think I probably would have benefited from sitting around and not doing shit for 6 months and kind of like trying to figure myself out, maybe going and getting some kind of nonsense job, just to reincorporate and become, because I was like, I remember sitting in a classroom and like, I could smell women, like, it was different. It was like, going from being with a bunch of meatheads and kind of peeing wherever you wanted to being formally in a classroom. And I never really drank coffee until that point. I was like, oh my God, I actually have to be here and pay attention and focus. Yeah, it was quick. It was definitely a quick, but on the beneficial side of it was I never got time to really get lazy.
Yeah.
So I was able to, with so quick a transition, I still had that military mindset of, I need to be there early, I need to be, well, for me, early was like right on time. It still kind of is, or 3 minutes late. But, I need to be there, on time, I need to be there prepared, and this is my job now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it went from, my job is now being a student. I wasn't like the other kids there who were like, I just want to party and get trashed. I was like, no, this is my job. And it made me a very successul student.
Right.
I just didn't make any friends. I didn't really like anybody.
Right.
It's tough. It's tough being around them.
So that was the immediate effect of transition. Yours was rather quick. Jayme, yours was a little.
No, mine was pretty
kind of
quick.
Gradually.
No, mine was pretty quick and harsh. But to backtrack on his, what really in my opinion, screwed him over is one, that post-deployment rehabilitation or evaluation that we got and that we commonly see is a bit of a joke. You go in there with some lady who got a certification, or man, not picking sides here, whose significant other is a member of the military and has no military experience, and then they try and relate to you, and you're just like WTF.
Yeah,
So
steps and taps is a joke too,
yeah,
especially for infantrymen. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, put down your job skills. We have no applicable job
yeah,
skills.
yeah. Steps and taps process. You do the steps and taps process. You do the evaluation test. What you can
Yeah, I
do when you
remember
get out.
that, yeah.
It's like fur trapper, cop, corrections officer.
Yeah.
And you're
Would have
just
been, you
like-
could have been a controlled avalanche specialist in Alaska.
Yeah. So, but no.
Still a rumor. I don't think that job actually exists.
Yeah. Mine was really, really fast, and the difference was I absolutely did not want to get out.
Yeah.
It was that 2015 drawdown, and I was right up at re-up time at the 2015 drawdown after 10 years in, and I was trying so hard to stay in, and I just got told no, and 2 weeks later was out and in college. And
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It happens so quick.
yeah, exactly. And so, one, I've talked on LinkedIn with some other guys about this, and they're like, well, you just didn't value steps and taps. Well, it's hard to value steps and taps.
There's no value in it for us.
Yeah, even if there's no value, it's just hard to value it when you don't want to separate in the first place,
Right.
when you were already set up to be a careerist.
Yeah.
And then, for lack of better terms, you just got laid off.
So what was the immediate sensation of like, crap, I don't have to show up at 4 a.m. this morning.
yeah.
My beard can now start growing. All of these things. Like, what was the immediate effect? When did it actually really hit you that, damn it, I'm a civilian again?
It hit me my first day in class, because even though I had the beard, I was in class with
The standard
just
suit,
civilians.
T-shirt, beard, and Solomon.
Yeah, like I still had my range book and everything, with my company logo drawn on it. I was wearing, a tan zip up jacket,
That was
but-
another weird thing is you didn't know what to wear. You were like,
Yeah.
I could wear whatever the hell I want, but I identify so deeply with that group. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never find a veteran who's completely clean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we were out in the store the other just earlier buying some groceries. The dude in his boots with the dog tag in still, and you could tell he'd been out for a long time.
Yeah. So it hit first day class when I was in there with just normal people, and we were going to school together. I was a year behind you, and I was just like, what did I get myself into? Like, I should have joined the Army or whatever I could have done. Why did I even not try and go to another branch?
It's scary, man. You lose
Yeah.
part of your identity. That's the biggest thing. Is
Yeah.
like dude, literally a couple of months ago, I was carrying around a machine gun, and and now I'm just another, trying to find the word. I'm just another
Just another dude, man.
human, just another piece of meat walking around, it's weird. It's the sensation. It's like, it's a loss of self. And I think that's one of the biggest things that everybody really struggles with is you lose a portion of yourself. And for me, like, my last couple of months were fairly tragic, literally the day that I got home, I walked off the bus. My dad was there with my brother, and he said, he gave me a hug. He's like, hey, it's great to see you. Call your mom. And my parents were separated. And so this is my dad telling me immediately call my mom. And my grandfather had died that day. So I came home and it was like, bam, tragedy. And then as soon as we got back from, they basically put me right on post-deployment leave. They were like, just go.
Yeah.
Just go. That was one of the coolest things the first
Yeah.
sergeant said to me. He was like, dude, just get out of here. You don't need to be here.
Yeah.
So I went on post-deployment leave and we came back and then we had the ceremony, man. That was like gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
So, it was just like, it's a lot to
The ceremony he's referring to is for the Marines and the corpsmen that we lost while we were in Afghanistan. And essentially you got the entire battalion that gathered together in a base theater and memorialized those heroes, man. And, it was.
It was rough, man.
That was
I've never seen a harder group of men cry.
I don't know. I don't know that those deaths didn't actually sink in until that moment.
It didn't.
Even hearing some of them, some of those come over green gear, it didn't really even register until you see their faces on a portrait down there, man. It was.
And somebody's talking to you about
rough,
who
man.
they were, and
Yeah.
dude, it was
And then
brutal.
just a few weeks later, you're you're out. You're out and you're,
Turning my shit in and trying to get out as fast as I
yeah, man, that's pretty wild. All right, so what do you think? Yeah, the immediate transition for me, I had a lot, from the sound of it, I had a lot more gradual release, having been in Wounded Warrior Battalion for, I don't know, probably last 6 months before I got out. And so I had a general idea of what direction I was going to, and I had a little bit more preparation. But it was still one of those, I can really relate to you. I didn't really want to get out. This is not what I wanted to do. This is not what I wanted. And so sitting in Seps and Taps was just like, stupid. This is stupid. I don't want to be here. In my retirement ceremony, I don't want to do this. It sucks. Man, it was really, really difficult. And I think, getting out, having to go into college because I felt the need to go do something. I have to. If I don't, I'm going to be idle, or time's going to fly by. I'm going to be idle, and I'm going to miss my mark. So I had to fly right into it, and man, it was stressful, dude.
You're starting years behind too. If you're not making a career out of the military, like I always tell everybody, like I'm just 4 years behind. I'm just a child, and I'm still. But I'm getting older now. I'm 33 now, so I'm 29. I'm pretty much right on course for where I should be. I don't have kids and whatnot yet, but it's like, yeah, for me, 4 years. You guys were in for even longer, and I wanted to get out. I know you guys didn't want to get out. I was in a race to get out. I had plans, but not really.
Yeah. Anything other than. Yeah. All right. Well, what do you without maybe giving away too much information, what would you say would be your biggest hurdle transitioning from military to civilian life?
For me, accepting that, and this is going to sound a little crazy, because accepting that like violence was not as commonplace, and that there's a level of preparedness that you need to acquire. But I actually did go and I talked to the vet center for a little while. And one of the biggest things that I took away was like, dude, you're in like orange to red all the time, and you can't live like that. You cannot carry on a normal human being life and feel comfortable being so elevated all the time. Like when I did get out, I had some additional crazy stuff happen. That's less than 6 months after I was in Afghanistan, that I was living in an apartment above a doctor's office, and there was a bar next to it. And I woke up in the middle of the night dreaming about machine gun fire, and there was still gunfire going on. So I'm low crawling up to the window with a gun in my hand, looking out the window. There's people screaming outside, and I'm just like, it was like Twilight Zone type stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances of actually having some kind of violent encounter take place nearby you, and then multiply that by, I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps, so I just gotten back from a war, like a legitimate war zone. So, like, that ramped me up even further. So like 6 months out, you should be starting to calm down a little bit, but I was getting like, it was just getting ratcheted up, and it came to a point where for me, I had to just be like, okay, let's settle down, let's figure out what's wrong so that we can start to address it so that I can be happy, because, I was just droning my way through life. I was going through college, and I killed college. I walked out of it with a 393 GPA. I got into a really good master's program, but I didn't make friends. I couldn't get along with anybody. People would invite me to parties, and I was like, nah, I'll end up fighting somebody and hurt. Like, I was afraid of myself being in public. Yeah. For the longest time. Like, I did not trust myself to be around the normal humans. So that was the biggest thing, is relearning.
Social acclimation was the most difficult.
Relearning to be, and you can't call people names and stuff. Yeah.
How about you?
Balancing.
It's I don't want to say abandoning the identity, but trying to create a new identity. And I still struggle with it. Now, I know it sounds dumb, but it was like last month I finally took down my Marine Corps picture as my LinkedIn profile. Like, to me, that was a huge deal, because it was just finally surrendering that last little piece of identity that I am a Marine. It's like, no, I need to do this. I need it to not look like I am still in the military, because I was getting a lot of job requests and then like, hey, are you still in the military? Because, you have that, picture of you up in your blues as your background. Obviously that's synonymous with you still being in the military. So it's surrendering that identity. And unlike Rich, it was more focused around, I did not want to be in the civilian world. I wanted to stay a Marine. So that has been huge. And then the other part is not having that community. Obviously, like me and you have stayed in close contact, but it's still not the same as walking in every day and having your rifle platoon.
Or getting out of work on Friday and going to pick up a rack of beer and playing quad 2.
Yeah, just hanging out with,
It's different.
you don't have that community anymore. So yeah, it was difficult dealing with finally surrendering that appearance that I am a Marine, and finally surrendering that concept that I have that community right there. So that has been a lot to deal with, and it's been almost 10 years, and it's still a battle. Like, I miss it so much.
And it's weird because you used to cling to it, the only reason that I had social media for the longest time was to keep in touch with people.
Exactly.
And what it boiled down to for me was, first off, social media I'm not a fan of it. I got nothing against people who have it, but my thoughts are it's kind of an invasion. I don't need the validation of having my entire life on display for people. And to go back to like my elevated sense of security, I was like, why am I posting anything? Like, what? These people don't know me. They don't need to know. And it really boiled down to I keep in touch with the people that I keep in touch with, and the people that I don't. I'll be honest, like, it sounds messed up, but like I don't care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. Like, there are people that I would have considered my good friends, and I have not spoken to them since I've been in the military. And you know what? That was a choice that both I made and they made.
Yeah.
Because you can only reach out so many times before it's like, I'm down here.
Sometimes that's a really hard pill to swallow.
It's tough.
That is really tough.
It's really tough.
Because it's a completely, you had a completely different life before, completely different life, and it's definitely a struggle. Back in 2019, I had to give a lecture on something non-gun related, and the only thing I felt that was right for me to speak on was my transition from military to civilian life and how I created Apache and that type of thing. And I created an acronym, and I think you will really appreciate this. The acronym was ASS. I felt like these three things were the three things that I struggled with the most, that I knew I was missing when I got out. First one was assets. I had no backup. I had no assets to really go to. I didn't feel like I had. I could recreate that for my civilian world, but immediately getting out, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I had at my dispense. The next one was structure. There was no structure. There's no structure anywhere. Nowhere in civilian life is there structure. When you show up to work in the Marine Corps, you're expected to do something, and
you're held to
every step of the way throughout each individual
you
day.
Held to it, and there are consequences.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You're held to the structure and standards, right? That was the last one, standards. There are no standards as a civilian. What is it? What's the metric you hold to yourself, or you hold yourself to as a civilian? What? Don't be an ass.
Mm-hmm. I think
try to treat everybody with respect. Work hard. What's the standard that you hold yourself to in the Marine Corps?
Depends who you have. If you have a family, you're culpable to them.
Yeah.
But when you come out, you don't.
In the Marine Corps, it's easy.
Anything.
It's easy. The standards are set for you. This is what you're supposed to meet. If you don't meet it, you're either going to have a really crappy job or you're getting kicked out.
And I think that's why so many young men are making these horrible decisions to go out and do these active shooter type things, and because they don't have any direction. There's nobody's telling them, hey, listen, this is what you can do. This is who you can be. Those guys, man, look, we were all angry young dudes. You don't join the Marine Corps infantry and not be an angry young dude. There was maybe one or two normal human beings. The rest of us were all a little touched.
Yeah.
But we made a conscious decision to do something good with it, to take that maybe some of the bad feelings that you had inside and channel it into something. And like even nowadays, like I consider us to be the thank you for your service generation.
Yeah.
But the generation now, like the Gen Z type of thing, like we're elder millennials is kind of really what it boils down to. But it's hard to identify with the millennial crowd and the Gen Z crowd in that like patriotism is not really, it's unpopular now. It's become unpopular. It's become more popular to look at America and say, oh, what a mess this is, and oh, the boomers screwed it up for us. And that's another thing that's hard to identify with is you went over there with this idea in your head, like, hey, you know what, like, dude, I grew up in New York City. I remember exactly where I was on 9/11. I was 12 years old. I was at lunch in the lunchroom when I found out, and my mom came and picked me up, and like everyone's mom started coming picking them up. I don't know. I remember cracking jokes like maybe Godzilla came. I didn't know what it was. I was 12 years old, but that I think that was one of the catalysts for a lot of people. Like, hey, our soil was attacked, and we all felt a certain way about it. But then this war just dragged on, and a lot of I can't explain to you why. I can't explain to you the geopolitics of it. I don't think anybody really can, unless they're one of the people that were making money off of it. But I felt lied to was one of the things. I felt deceived. I felt a loss of identity, and I felt like what I did. It started to be it started to come to the point where people were like, "Thank you for your service," and you're like, "I appreciate it." Like just stop.
Yeah, that definitely played a huge psychological effect on
you specifically. I remember that, man. I remember sitting and having some conversations, and
it's
like,
it's
wow,
tough, man. It's tough to answer. It's really tough to think about. But we're running a little short on time. I want to cap this off with where you're at now. All of us have been out over a decade at least. We have completely different lives now, and we're completely different.
Ironically different.
We should now be able to resonate more with our civilian life. You're a new father. You're fixing to get hitched. We have a completely different lifestyle ahead of us now, and so I really want to make sure we hit on that. Everybody knows I'm running Apache and got 2 kids and a wonderful wife, and
we're happy.
I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream.
Awesome.
Where you at?
Because you got a gun range right outside here.
Rich works with the TSA, and occasionally gets out with the glow sticks and directs the planes. That's what you do, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I do. I'm an air traffic controller with the Federal Aviation Administration. I'm yet still a government employee. So it's got its ups and downs, man. And I strongly recommend it for the pay and the lifestyle, but when stuff, I'm not gonna say the other one, when stuff goes wonky with the federal government, like the shutdown, and we weren't getting paid for a while, like it gets real nasty. But we got a really good union, and I love the job. It's a good job, and we're gonna probably talk about some elements of that job later on.
Sure.
But one of the biggest things that saved me was having responsibility. That dog right there, you can't see him, he's off camera right now, but he changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was my first echo of what it's like to actually be responsible and accountable for something other than myself. And like, you don't really give a shit about yourself. Like, you just kind of like, I'll make it, I'll be fine. You just like, I'll change my socks, take Motrin. But I was on a path. I was going to do social work with the VA, and I had done an internship for a year, and it was miserable. And everything was hitting so close to home. Like, I had friends, you guys, Brian, and everybody was going through stuff at the time, and it just hit so close to home. I was like, I don't want to do this, and I ended up working for the FAA, and now I live, a pretty good life. I'm happy. I found a partner and finally settled myself down. Found somebody that was able to keep up with my nonsense, and now life's good.
Put up with your nonsense.
Put up.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich.
She throws punches back.
Jayme, where are you at in life, man?
So I just now accepted a manufacturing engineering job with one of my old companies, and now working on Marine Corps projects and designing and developing and manufacturing stuff for the Marine Corps. This was kind of a spur of the moment thing, so I haven't really got permission to even mention the company or the projects on camera, so I can't do that. But I am working with stuff for the Marine Corps, and I am supporting the Marine Corps again, which is a big thing. And the community at the place I work is just full of veterans. It's either veterans or good old country boys, so it's a very easy community to get along with and transition into, and just start working with them. And you're around other veterans, and you're able to communicate. Even the higher level managers spend so much time out at Camp Lejeune or the other bases dealing with service members that it's just easy to deal with management there because they know how veterans think and talk, and just the general, what is the word I'm looking for? Terminology we use, or acronyms, or vulgarity that we use. So
The language.
the language of veterans.
That's
So-
funny because I work with a lot of vets too. Most
Yeah.
of them are very pogue, like deeply into the pogue world. I got one guy who's an Army Ranger, awesome dude. But I don't want to steal too much of your thunder. But yeah, different worlds.
Yeah.
The Air
Yeah.
Force had different experiences. The Navy had different experiences. It's funny.
Yeah, the one save round I would have is the once a Marine, always Marine concept. I loved it when I was in the Marine Corps. I don't really think it's applicable. I think it's once a veteran, always a veteran, because I've definitely found more community with other veterans than I have just the
Yeah.
Marine Corps.
I will say something I'm well known for saying is we are our own help. Like that, we're all we got.
And it's still no one's
Really,
coming.
I mean,
Yeah, no one's coming to
the
rescue.
only people that have really truly made a serious impact when I was about to fall off that ledge was the veteran community. Right. Well, thanks guys. I really appreciate you being here and talking with me about this. Love and miss you guys. It's awesome to have you guys here and on our show. Well, that's all we got for you guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below what you would like to see us talk about next time. Thanks, guys. We look forward to seeing you out here.
See?
Rich, I've got a friend of mine that's he's missing some luggage and baggage claim. Do you think you can help me out with that?
I'll make a cook for you.
Oh, there's a camera boob there.
And fucking gorillas.
That was right here.